Bert Fabri. Bert is a senior project manager and business analyst at CTG, and he is currently leading a mobile application development project at one of our largest customers. He will be talking about Confluence as a collaboration platform and Invision, which is a design and prototyping app, and they go hand in hand, which he will introduce you using a real-time editing and collaboration case study. Please welcome Bert Fabri.
Thank you, Jochen, and welcome everyone. I'm glad to see so many of you in attendance here. Did everyone enjoy the coffee break? Yes, okay, yes. Thank you. To start off this session, let's do something together just to get the brain juices flowing, okay? I want you all to think of 3 things that you are really passionate about, things that you can't live without. I'll give you just a moment. Has everyone got these 3 items? Well, whatever you came up with, know that every single item on your list is a result of a successful collaboration. Sure, there may have been a semi-crazy genius like Steve Jobs who gave the inspirational leadership, but know that inspiration without collaboration is just a lot of great ideas that go up into thin air. Services like Uber, like Airbnb, products like electric vehicles, self-driving cars, buses that can drive over traffic, pretty much everything that Steve Jobs came up with after the iPod. Well, these are all inventions of our time. And they aren't just about innovation, they are about leaps of imagination. These are the kind of things that make us ask, how did they get there? And more importantly, how can I get my team there? The end result may seem neat and tidy after a fact, but you can be sure that it wasn't that at the start. Creativity happens in fits and in bounds, and it has many false starts. There's no linear path from problem to solution, and there's no magic formula to innovation. It is as the late Steve Jobs said, great things in business are never the work of one person. They're done by a team of people. That is why collaboration is key. So, if collaboration is so great, why hasn't everyone been doing this for years? Well, that brings us to the big question and challenge. Why is it so hard to implement real-time cooperation and editing? Well, this challenge can be divided into 3 components. You got mindset, tools, and resources. First and foremost, we got mindset. While not the topic of this presentation, I do want to stress the importance of mindset. Because without acceptance of your user base, management and your organization in general, your collaboration platform and effort in general will be destined to fail. Secondly, there is the choice of tools. Do you want an on-site solution? Do you want a SaaS solution? Do you want to buy it? Do you want to lease it? Do you want software integration? While you want answers to all these questions, in the end it will all boil down to one thing. How does your team work? Or how do you want your team to work? It is vital to choose a tool that both works for your team now and that can adapt to its coming evolution. This gives your team time to iterate on their processes without additional pressure. And lastly, we have resources. While this will indubitably be part of your tools choice, it is important to consider the total and recurring costs of your implementation, as well as the total time it takes to implement it. This will be a key point in both the management decision to implement it and the acceptance of the user base. Now that we have identified these key challenges, it is time to look at the solution that we implemented with success at CTG Belgium. As one of CTG's preferred partners, Atlassian offered us a solution for our collaboration needs in the form of the Confluence suite. So, what is Confluence? As will be explained in the upcoming slides, Confluence is an integrated collaboration platform that, for example, works in perfect unison with Jira. While we had some other possible avenues to explore, why did we choose Confluence? Well, with Confluence, we can be anywhere, literally. Whether we are in the same room or spread out all over Belgium, over Europe, or even further apart, Confluence enables us to work simultaneously on the same data, on any device, without conflict. So how does this work? Whenever you're editing a page and someone else is editing the same page, a pop-up just comes up on the top of your window in real time, just notifying you that this is taking place. And as soon as you hit the save button, Confluence will start looking whether or not it can save all these changes without conflicts. So if there aren't any conflicts, it will do so in the edited page. If there are conflicts, the last person saving will get a notification and will see which kind of changes are causing the conflicts. And then he will have the decision to make, either just continue editing, or discard the changes made by the other person, or discard his own changes. As you all know, every change made to documents triggers discussions on content, on form, on the bigger picture of the project. Confluence takes this fact into consideration and creates an environment where this can all be done in a controlled and orderly fashion. Comments, versions, and discussions are all embedded into the solution and are completely traceable. This means no more chaotic email chains with discussions or changes that get lost as the project progresses. Wouldn't that be great to finally get rid of those things? Now, before we go to the last point here on the solution, let's do a little experiment. I want you all to take out your smartphones if you don't have them already in hand. Unlock your smartphones and have a look at the home screen. I predict that 80% of the apps that are there on your home screen are the apps that you use the most. Is that correct?
Yes.
For most of you, there are obviously some people who are not, for which is that's not correct, but anyway. Okay, so now ask yourself the following question. Why do I use these apps? Or better still, why don't I use other apps that do exactly the same? The answer to your question, to that question, is actually twofold. First, these apps, they do what they should do. The functionality of these apps is exactly what you need. Why else would you use them? And the second part is that soft part, is you won't use an app that is like a chore to use, which is like a hassle to use. No, it is probably intuitive, fun, something like that. The mindset challenge we discussed earlier stated that the solution is only as good as its acceptance by the user base. And that's tackled in Confluence by focusing heavily on the user experience. Now, I can talk to you all about the easiness to implement, the easiness to use, about its flexibility, etc. But the big selling point for us was that, like your favorite apps, that it's intuitive and fun to use. What more could you want from a software solution? So, before we dive into the details of Confluence and how we use it, let me first give you some high-level examples of what Confluence can be. Primarily, Confluence serves as a resource repository. Whether these are actual documents that you uploaded into the solution, data that you registered on pages within the solution, or anything else, Confluence binds it all together into a cohesive whole. Next, when talking about project collaboration, Confluence takes working together to a whole other level. Whether you are a project manager, an analyst, a developer, a stakeholder, and you want to create, share, or collaborate on projects, Confluence keeps it all in one place and keeps your projects moving forward and transparent. Now, who amongst you likes reading meeting notes? Okay, there's one. One out of 35 people who likes reading meeting notes. Another question, who likes validating meeting notes? Another one, okay. Great. Ever get the feeling that you're like being dragged into pointless administration by doing such things? Where do you keep track of all the action items that are agreed upon during meetings and so forth? Here we have a solution where you can easily store your meeting agenda, your attendees, your action points all in one place. The only thing that Confluence can't do is transcribing the meeting notes. And that's the only thing that you need to take care of. Okay. I hope that everything I've told you thus far has given you a better understanding of what Confluence can mean for your organization. Now, let's talk briefly about two functionalities I want to highlight, as they've proven to be a main asset for us in our project. First, we've got feedback in context. While similar to the commenting functionality in the Microsoft Office suite, the feedback functionality in Confluence grants you the powerful real-time feedback possibility on, well, everything in Confluence. Every shred of data you can create feedback on. Entire discussions can unfold where the data is present, without needlessly burdening other project members which have nothing to do with that specific part of the project or of that data. Another great help to us was the use of templates. While many of them are supplied out of the box, in my honest opinion, they are simply great. But if you can't find what you need, there's still the Atlassian store where you can download other templates or buy them. And even if that doesn't suit your needs, there is still the template editor, where you can build or edit existing templates. Afterwards, you can, if they are good and you want to give your brainchild somewhere to live, you can save that into your project space. The project space, or even globally, spanning all over your project spaces. So that about wraps up my overview on Confluence. A quick question for you. I know that Peter has asked the same question during his introduction, but raise your hands if you're currently using Confluence already in your organization. Okay, that's like half the room. That's good to see. Thank you. Yeah, I almost forgot this bit. Invision. What's more frustrating for project managers and analysts on the one hand, and customer stakeholders on the other hand, than to talk to each other about requirements or abstract concepts in general? As Michael has pointed out during his keynote speech on Shift Left, often due to nothing more than simple human nature, misunderstandings arise when talking about abstract concepts. What might be a clear definition for me on a concept might be completely different for you, might be completely different from you. It is a problem. So why do I bring this up when talking about Invision? Invision is a prototyping tool that is mostly used in cases where designs are key. It's like creating front-end applications like your favorite apps. There it comes in very handy. By streamlining communication and collaboration in Confluence, and combining that with the prototyping strength from Invision, we are able to bring all these abstract concepts to life, to create added value and to create clarity for our customers. And in the end, this is how we build better products. So, what features make the Confluence and Invision marriage success made in heaven? When creating your initial designs, you want to have on-the-money, quick feedback from your customers or your stakeholders. Time is almost always of the essence. And the less time you spend on designs that are simply going nowhere, the better. Also, you want the feedback where you can see it, where you can manage it. Confluence allows a designer to share one or many of his designs through the Invision plugins, while Confluence supplies you with a medium to manage the feedback. So after the design phase, designers can quickly embed their Invision prototypes directly into Confluence for easy feedback, documentation, and they have documentation on every component of the prototype. And in case that you're wondering what an Invision prototype might look like, I've got an example right here. So, now that you have a clear idea on what Confluence and what Invision can do, let's take a look at the use case. So, what is UMax Mobile? At its center, you have UMax. And UMax is a customized Microsoft Dynamics AX solution built for the utilities sector and created by Itineris, a company in Ghent. So what does it do? The UMax ERP enables transactions to be registered, to be managed from end to end. What was missing for Itineris was a tool, something they could use for their customers' field agents, so they could register the data immediately in the field. So they asked us to develop a front-end application for it, and also the middle tier, which we're doing in Azure. That's the Microsoft Cloud solution. And then all that data that connects to the UMax backend. Now, this project had a tight schedule from the start. While the customer supplied us with 59 distinct high-level business cases, we had 40 days to know the business, to get to know the business in general, to get to know the business processes, to define the detailed use cases, and create a design. And this all had to be validated by the customer as well during these 40 days. So how did we do this all? I'll skip the process of understanding the business and the processes, and instead let's look at a business case example. So for this example, let's look at the business case of logging off. It's one of the easiest and one of the most comprehensible I could fit in one slide. So as you can read on the slide, the business case is a clear-cut, general description on what a business might describe as logging off out of an application. So what did we do with it? We created a detailed use case, and let's jump directly in how this looks in our Confluence. So for the moment, I want to stress that the quality of the slide is not all that good. We'll dive into the details in the later slides. But as you can see, we got two distinct parts in our Confluence. On the left side, in the left frame, you can see the tree structure. And on the main screen you can see what we did is actually we took one of the out-of-the-box templates, we edited it, and we are using this template for all our detailed use cases. So once you've created that in a template editor, it just sticks with you. So let's first take a look at the menu structure. So as you can see, yeah, we've got a possibility to link to a blog page. We did not do this. Perhaps in larger environments or in larger organizations, it might be useful, but not for us. So in the page tree, we can see several things. So the team, just an overview on who's working on the project, his contact details, etc. Then we got the meeting notes. They're all stored in here. They are all validated in here. If there are remarks on the meeting notes, it can all be managed here. So no need to send out Word documents or whatever. The analysis part, and that part I just I expanded that part of the tree because it is the most useful here to highlight is what we did here. So we've got a business, functional, technical, and a design part. So in the business part, we have the use cases as they were supplied to us by our clients, and the definitions that initially came with the project, plus additional definitions that when the project matured, that also came up with. So again, here there is absolute transparency for every person involved in the project, whether it is the customer stakeholder or the developers, on what we mean with certain aspects. So then we have the functional, technical, and the design part that we just split up into several pieces. And I will go into that into detail in my demo part, for which I hopefully have still some time. Questions? That's something that is something that I would like to explain, because we created this at the start of the project. Our client was not used to using Confluence as a solution. So instead of directly answering questions or posing questions within the pages, they needed some kind of a transition phase. So we created a questions page where we combined everything together for them with a clear overview on how they could respond. This is something that will be probably in one of the next weeks will be moved to the archive. Then all manuals and documentations, the things that we got from our customer was uploaded there, so it's all there for easy reference. When we look at the main screen, yeah, we can see some net giveaways here, the ID, title, description. I will not go into detail with that, but when we look further down the list, you see that those things that we created that in the editor, things that are recurring within every detailed business case for us. So, for example, if you have a project that is very lean, that is really that you don't have that many people working on, that you are just really agile, you don't want that much documentation, you can actually skim this down quite a lot. Or if you're working in a Prince2 waterfall classic project where you have a lot of documentation, a lot of data that you want to register, you can actually expand on that as well. It is completely up to you on how to use this. So for us, this is like the way to go, our golden path. Two things I want to highlight here are the app navs and the screens. For those of you who don't know what an app nav is, it's a schematic that shows you how you navigate through the app. It's nothing more than that. And then you have the screens. These are designs. So for the app nav, you can see that we have a hyperlink here. You can also access the app nav through our our tree structure, but for easiness of use, we have several hyperlinks in each of the detailed business cases. So this is an example for what an app nav might look like. As you can see, this is created in Draw.io. It's also one of the templates that comes out of the box in Confluence. You can easily create it. You don't have to leave Confluence. You can simply save that within the environment. And then you have the designs. They are stored also separately in our Confluence, but this is what they look like. These are actually screenshots from our Invision, but for our developers, we find it easier to have them working like this, simply because also in this, so we have a general and an overview here, but we have the several components here with a code next to them. So that actually specifies what parameters are used, what validation is used, what format is used, and so forth. So all technical data that our developers will use are also stored here. So I've got less than 5 minutes. I will show you two things in our live environment. Hold on a sec. I will switch over. Yes, here it is. So this is our live environment. As you can see, this is my homepage where I come up. I can see the recent space activity here. Our designer has been busy yesterday, apparently has done something. So you can see he's edited something in assets. When I go look at the page, okay, that is actually the general assets page. He has uploaded something, I don't know what. I really want to go back here. Hold on. Okay, here we are. So if you want to see what he has done as a change to the page, you just click View Change, and yes. So you have a key here, what is specified. Some things can be deleted, some things can be changed or added. So as you can see, he has added some assets here, an extra icon, search icon. Let me show you quickly what a prototype looks like in Invision. So as you can see, I went to design and I brought up the URL. Okay, connection is not really that fast. Okay, so instead of having design screenshots in a prototype, what we can use is every button has actually a functionality hidden behind that. So as you can see, when talking about abstract concepts, as I discussed earlier, this is the way just to tackle that problem. So if you show this to your client, if you have designed this part, you can actually make it very clear on what he will be getting in terms of design, in terms of how the functionality, the app will work. All the assets here are then just mirrored into your Confluence, where the developers can find these assets, where they can embed that into their, for example, in this case, in their mobile development environment. So everything will turn out as you have discussed, as you have agreed upon with your customer, and the end result will be this. So I know it's a very short demo. I'm really sorry for this. I don't have that much more time. I will take one quick question, and the rest you can ask me after the next session. So if there are any questions. No, everyone is very eager to get another cup of coffee before the next keynote. Okay, then I hope I've made, I've shown you what Confluence and what Invision can do can mean for your organization the same as it has meant for us. And again, if you have any questions, just tackle me later on. And I would like to thank you all for being present here.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Bert.